What's going on, people? Welcome to the High Press, a new weekly video segment we're going to be doing on fan futsal. My name is Dave, and we are going to be looking at the Pick'em feature on fan futsal, looking at all the matches for this upcoming weekend, starting on Friday, ending on Monday. It's going to be Jurgen Klopp style, high press, full throttle, heavy metal. We're going to be going quick as possible through each of the games. Not going to be Barcelona, tiki-taka, let's get it, and then slow things down. No, we're going to look at every game, try to keep up, and let's get right into it. First match of the weekend, we got Lille playing Saint Etienne in France. I like Saint Etienne on the road. Lille hasn't been doing too well this year, so they're going to get a victory, Saint Etienne. Club Tijuana had a difficult first match, but they get things corrected and get a result at home versus Puebla and get that victory. Moving on to Saturday, West Brom versus Tottenham. Tottenham has struggled against West Brom in recent years, but I think they ride that victory over Chelsea, get a result in that one. Tottenham gets the victory. Burnley versus Southampton. Southampton had a great result versus Liverpool. They're going to be looking ahead to next match against Liverpool. Burnley doesn't get a win, but does hold them to a draw. That match is going to end in a draw. Hull City has been absolutely dreadful. They have a new manager, so that'll be interesting to see what happens there, but I don't think it's enough in this one. Bournemouth gets the victory. Sunderland versus Stoke City. Stoke is comfortably mid-table. Sunderland is fighting for relegation places. I think this is a slip-up for Stoke, and Sunderland gets a victory. Swansea and their new manager hasn't had enough time for anything to take root, and that squad is really, really terrible. Arsenal gets a result on the road, gets a victory. Watford versus Borough. Watford at home. They've been struggling recently, but Middlesbrough isn't that great on the road. They're a great defensive team, but not able to get it in this one. Watford gets a win at home. West Brom and Palace both doing pretty terrible and in a tough stretch, bad run of form. I think that one ends in a draw. Neither club gets it corrected at this stage. Leicester versus Chelsea. As much as I want to pick Leicester in this one, I think Chelsea bounces back. Conte has shown that he makes adjustments very well and gets his club corrected for that match. Leganes versus Athletic Club de Bilbao. Fancy words. Bilbao had a tough week against Barcelona, losing the Copa del Rey, but I think they bounce back and get a win there. Barca, speaking of Barca, they're playing Las Palmas. You know, Barca's just a juggernaut. I'm going to predict them in most matches that we see. Atletico Madrid versus Betis. Madrid is just so good on defense, especially at home. They're going to get a victory there. Villarreal on the road versus Deportivo La Coruña. Villarreal keeps pace with the Champions League spots, gets a win there. Crotone versus Bologna, battle at the bottom of the table. Shocker upset, as much as it can really be an upset. Crotone actually gets a win in this particular match and kind of gives themselves a little bit of hope in the relegation places. Inter versus Chievo. Inter's been on a hot streak. 4 matches in a row they've won. They continue that against Chievo. PSG versus Rennes. PSG, it's going to be a tough match, especially on the road. Rennes is definitely not a pushover, but I think they're able to get the result and push through and get a victory. Nancy, I don't know exactly how you pronounce it. If anybody knows, let us know in the comments section. They're at home versus Bastia. Neither club doing particularly great. I foresee that being a draw as they feel each other out. Another one that I'm going to struggle to pronounce, Lorient and Guingamp. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. Lorient's been dreadful. Guingamp has been great. They're challenging for European spots in Ligue 1, so they get a victory there on the road. Montpellier at home versus Dijon. Both clubs mid-table, but I like Montpellier at home. Toulouse versus Nantes. Nantes can't score. They've been absolutely terrible this year. I like Toulouse at home to get a victory there. Angers versus Bordeaux. I like this to actually end up in a draw. Both clubs are doing okay, kind of struggling, mid-table to slightly below mid-table, but I like it to end in a draw as they both kind of get the spoils from that. Querétaro versus Monarcas. I like Querétaro to bounce back. Monarcas had a surprise victory in the first match of the Liga MX season, but I like Querétaro to bring them back down and get a victory. Atlas versus Tigres. Atlas had a shock, I believe, 4-1 loss in the first match, if I remember correctly. And I think their misery kind of continues. Tigres gets a victory on the road. I think Chivas versus Monterrey. Chivas is back. I think they get a win here and take down Monterrey on the road. Pachuca versus Chiapas. I like Pachuca there. They struggled in their first match. Chiapas was off, but Chiapas was absolutely dreadful in the Apertura, and I think that form continues here. Necaxa versus Leon. I like that one to end in a draw. Both, start of the season, only second week of the Clausura, and both clubs kind of still feeling each other out. Nice versus Metz. Nice is fantastic defensively, and that form continues. They get a victory at home. Caen versus Lyon, Olympique Lyonnais. I like Lyonnais to get a victory on the road. Caen is not doing well down in the relegation spots in Ligue 1, and that continues. Surprise upset here. This is going to be a good match. Marseille has been on a fantastic run of form. Monaco is second in Ligue 1. I actually like Marseille to get an upset, if you can call it that, because they're home. I like them to get a victory at home over Monaco. High-scoring match I expect in that one, though. Pumas versus Cruz Azul. I like Pumas at home. I just like them at home. I think that they bounce back. They didn't have a great result in the first match either. America versus Toluca. I like America. They were off the first week in Liga MX, but they come out of the blocks and get a win on the road. Santos Laguna versus Veracruz. Veracruz, a surprise victory in the first match. They were terrible in the Apertura, and Santos Laguna had a draw. I like Santos Laguna and their number 286, their player number 286 to get a victory. If you don't know that reference, listen to our podcast, Bros Talking Soccer. You can find it on iTunes and any podcasting platform. Spanish La Liga on Monday. Sociedad versus Malaga. Sociedad has been doing very well in the league. They did lose to Barcelona recently, but I think they get a victory on the road to stay in competition for the European places. Finally, Torino versus AC Milan. I like Milan. Both clubs are doing surprisingly well this year. Milan, I think, fourth in Serie A, and Torino fighting for European spots. I like Milan on the road, though I could easily see that be a draw. So that's it for this week. Thank you for tuning in. I survived. You survived. I want to thank you. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section, and I'll see you next week. Peace, everybody.